and we will see indeed which decks we do have in play. Jumping into game now between Dominic and Mout. Mout will be going first, so safe to say that he is at least very likely probably not playing Tenpai. But Fualos immediately, the Molchami Fualos does suggest that we have Dominic just drawing cards left and right. Supreme Seamare in turn suggests that this is Telements, sorry.
Yeah, Telement, probably not Tenpai. Yeah, but all of a sudden we see the effect Veiler, so a lot of interruptions right now in the hand of Domenic. We are going to see if Mout can just play around those, but he's going to have to be very careful because of course there is the Molchami Fualos, which will make
Ash Blossom and Joystick. So many disruptions coming out from Dominic here. It is the dream starting hand against the Telements, but the Telements now just going to end on that. Mout, that is not ideal, but you did get rid of 3 cards from the starting hand of Dominic. Here's another draw from him to start things off, of course, on his turn. 3 cards to start the game. Is that something that he can make work here? Kashtira Unicorn, as good a start as any.
Yeah, that's really good, of course, because he can search the Kashtira Burst, which allows him to put some pressure, because you know that Kashtira Burst will be able to revive the Unicorn if he uses it for the maybe Finsmith stuff.
Yes, indeed. Or the Snake Eye stuff. The Diabell Star, the Black Witch now on the field, going to get presumably the Deception of the Sinful Spores. Actually wasn't necessarily expecting that one, but it will allow further bridge into the Azamina components of this deck, and it does mean that we may very well see the likes of the Maresta de Ilago in the extra deck, and so on. The Kashtira Unicorn not getting its additional effect of taking a card from the extra deck of Mout, though, does suggest that we're not in the worst of positions for this Telements duelist.
Yeah, but it's gonna be hard because now Dominic has access to everything. If he's playing Snake Eye, then he will be able to have access to Snake Eye Ash and just go from there to try to end the game.
You played Snake Eye Fiendsmith yesterday, right? When you won that?
Absolutely. Yeah? I think this is literally the
Tell
best
me how
deck.
you're feeling right now looking at this. I don't think I saw a Kashtira card from you, but...
No, I didn't play the Kashtira cards. Kashtira cards are usually played with the Millennium cards, but I chose not to play the Millennium cards and to go for the usual stuff, the Azamina ones, and more free spots.
Apparently you also played with 3 disruptions in the hand if you're Dominic, which was obviously a great start to this duel, as it does continue to build upon that with the Moon of the Closed Heaven, allowing further access to the Fiendsmith cards in the extra deck. But the Hallowed Azamina going to come out first. Azamina, Ilia, Sylvia, that guaranteed negation now coming out just to add further insurance to the plays. A lot of this deck strategy is getting into the extra deck negations to protect further extensions later on down the line. Obviously, the ending, ideally on the Appaloosa Bow of the Goddess as well, does suggest that we will see that eventually. Dominic, he's looking pretty okay right now. 2 cards in hand for Mout. Could very well have a disruption, but doesn't look like it so far.
He's really fine because now he can go on the Finsmith stuff. He can have access to the DSRA if he wants, because he already has access to the Snake Eye part. So it looks really bright for him. And for Mout, it's gonna be very difficult because, of course, as you said just before, there is now the Ilia Sylvia, which can just get through an interruption. So he will have to get 2 really good cards in the hand if you want to win this one.
Yep, Snake Eyes Poplar now coming out here. It does suggest we will eventually see the Snake Eyes Flambear's Dragon. It's looking really good for Dominic, but I want you to walk me through Mout's idea here with the Telements. We know he's a big fan of the deck, but, you know, this guy won the Winter Final just a couple of weeks ago. He is so experienced and so accomplished in this particular meta game, and yet chooses to bring this to the table. Is there particularly a reason why that could be the case? Comfort, yes, but does it have a good matchup into what you told me earlier was the deck of the format?
Yeah, of course. He told me that, of course, Snake Eye is probably the best deck of the format, but he didn't want to come with Snake Eye because he saw that a lot of players would come with the deck, and he wanted to play his favorite deck because he's here for fun, you know. He wants to have a good time, and this is the best deck for him to have a good time. But he also told me that he had some serious spices in the deck, of course, to deal with Snake Eye and also Tenpai. So this is not only a hard choice.
Speaking of dealing with Tenpai, by the way, big fan of your Kiki Nagashi Fucho plays yesterday.
It was really good, right?
It was pretty good, yeah, but also pretty good is, of course, Dominic now looking to seal the deal on this one. This game looks pretty much done, and it is done. Dominic takes down Mout with that Snake Eyes Fiendsmith Kashtira deck against the Telements.
It was really, really hard for Mout because he didn't have a chance to literally play the game. He tried hard, but the problem is that when you have to face 3 interruptions in the opponent's hand, it becomes really difficult, especially with the Fuvalos. And the problem is that when you cannot start your plays with Two Elements, it becomes really, really hard. Two Elements is a great deck when you have the opportunity to just start your plays, and then you can extend because you have a lot of things in the graveyard, you have a lot of things on the field, and then you can just extend and extend again and again. But he didn't have a chance to do that.
Indeed, and despite being able to go first, as you said, just met disruption after disruption, starting with that Molchami Fuvalos that you did correctly highlight that. Now, coming into it, of course, we did mention that even with 1 loss on the board, you're not out of the group, and very much the tournament could still be within Mout's grasp if he's able to make a comeback. But someone that doesn't need to make a comeback and is already off to a great start is Dominic, who is with Ed.
That's right, Ibris. I'm here with Dominic, who's just won his first round here at this tournament. I mean, that must already be a pretty confident start, especially as the fact that you just got straight into disruption against Mout right from the bat.
Yeah, sure. It was pretty unfortunate for him, I guess. Yes.
Were you expecting to see that deck in the format? Because I know everyone's probably going to be playing some sort of Fiendsmith or Snake Eyes. Were you expecting to see Telements?
I definitely wasn't.
But you seemed prepared enough for it because you managed to absolutely dominate it.
It was not about preparation for the element. It was just luck to have 3 hand trips, I guess. So.
True. So the deck is serving you well so far. Do you feel confident in going forward from here? Are there any decks that you're nervous about going up against, or generally you're pretty confident?
Generally pretty confident, but I'm scared about stun, to be honest. But other than that, I think it's doable.
It should be doable. Best of luck. You have done your best so far. You've already got 1 win. Let's see where the rest of the tournament takes you. Guys, speaking of, we're about to have our next duel, and that will be Quantal versus Boss. But first, if you're enjoying the digital content that we do here on the digital titles like Master Duel, you might also enjoy creating the links.